Awesome. All right, let's make sure you guys can hear me good. Can you hear me well? Awesome. Okay. So, thank you all for having me. Firstly, I'm very excited to be here again. And I just love that last song that was played. It was played when Larry was speaking. And I was like, wow, that's the truth right there. That's the key, is that divinity within ourselves. The Gnostics referred to it as the sacred flame, right? And that connects all of us, this divinity that connects all of us together. And what's interesting is that part where it was talking about getting caught up in the play, right? And I think what's fascinating here is that there's kind of different layers to reality, right? And the more we explore ourselves, the more we come to understand these layers. And one of these layers is the archetypal world. Now, to understand our connectedness with one another, the archetypal world is a very helpful way in which to do this. Now, of course, we don't want to get stuck there, do we? We want to move past that to the inner core, the divinity within each person. But a lot of times we get caught up in our own egos and our own world, at least I do. And it can be helpful to see aspects of one's own psychology, one's own spiritual self, and see that also in other people. And remember, we're all the same. We are all light beings, all this force of good. So in each one of us, there is a divine force, a divinity that connects us all. All that radiates from this force is perfect in its own way, even in its imperfection. Imperfection, right? This beauty is simple, yet complex. Simple in the reality of the divinity within, yet unique in its expression. All of us have our unique expression of this divinity here, and that's a huge gift. We shouldn't just look past that. Carl Jung said, "There are forms or images of a collective nature which occur particularly all over the earth as constituents of myths and at the same time as individual products of the unconscious." So last time I was here, I talked a little bit about the as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. So as I talk about these archetypes, I'm going to go through them, and then I want you guys to discuss. We're going to discuss it a little bit, and then we're going to move into wabi-sabi. Who here is familiar with wabi-sabi? Oh, yes. Awesome. Okay. So by seeing how we are connected by similar archetypes, we might find more understanding of ourselves and others and connect to this cosmic play we all take part in, but to see it as a play. And that's what's important, right? Because there are parts of us that are a part of that play, but we don't want to be too attached to that. We want to understand it. Like the song says, when you come to understand it, then you also understand who you truly are past all of that. All right, so here we go. Jung's 12 archetypes. Each represent a different facet of the human experience. Both natures that we find within ourselves, others, as well as our experiences with the world around us. For example, brands, things like this, they also tend to pick an archetype and run with it. Like Nike would be the hero archetype, or different things. Red Bull would be the explorer, right? These different things, they pick archetypes, and when we understand it, we're like, ooh, this is what they're using. Helpful stuff. So the first one is the innocent. The innocent exhibits happiness, goodness, optimism, safety, romance, and youth. The innocent archetype is characterized by its purity, its naivete, gentle, compassionate, loving, who sees the world through rose-tinted glasses. They often are optimistic and believe the best in people yet to come. Now, as I go through these, I want you to think about yourself, people you know, and this world around you, right? With the innocent, I definitely see the rose-tinted glasses. So I'm like, everything's fine. No, it's good. Next, we have the everyman. who seeks connection and belonging, is recognized as supportive, faithful, and down to earth. They're usually characterized by balance, normality, common sense, quite normal, trying not to stand out in the crowd. They are practical people who rely on common sense or practical corporations or practical whatever, right? They don't believe in doing things that don't make sense or don't have a logical explanation. And then we have the hero. Who doesn't love a hero? I love a hero. On a mission to make the world a better place. I think we definitely have some heroes in here, for sure. They seek justice and morality. You know, they usually overcome great challenges and adversity and try to make the world better and better through those struggles. Then we have the rebel. Questions authority and breaks the rules. The rebel is known to seek revolution. The rebel archetype is characterized by independence, nonconformity, freedom. They like to march to the beat of their own drum. They often have a strong sense of individuality and desire for freedom. Rebels often dislike rules and regulations and believe in doing things their own way. Found in people who want to chart their own way and be their own boss, 100%. And then we have the explorer. Finds inspiration in travel, wants to suck the marrow out of life. Discovery, the thrill of new experiences. Explorers are always looking for new experiences and adventures. They are often fearless people who are willing to take risks in order to make the most out of their life. Then we have the creator. Imaginative, inventive, and driven to build things of enduring meaning and value. Creators are also very intuitive and create to overcome challenges in the world. They often have a strong connection to the subconscious mind. 7, the ruler. I think we know some rulers. And what's great is, once again, we see it in ourselves, right? And it helps us to have understanding for others. Creates order from chaos. The ruler is typically controlling and stern, yet very responsible and organized. They're usually very disciplined individuals who follow a strict routine, and they like to be neat and organized and can be quite perfectionistic. The magician wishes to create something special and make dreams reality. The magician is seen as a visionary and spiritual. They often use their powers for good. Magicians are also very intuitive people who have a strong connection to the spiritual world. They are also able to use their intuition and creativity to change the world if they so choose. Usually found in artists, writers, entrepreneurs. The lover. Some lovers out there. And within each of us. Especially you too. The lover creates intimate moments, inspires love, passion, romance, and commitment. Lovers are drawn to relationships and intimacy. They often have a strong need for emotional connection and feel incomplete without it. Lovers are usually very passionate people who experience love deeply. They also may be attracted to intimacy and enjoy being close to others. The lover archetype is found in people who are looking for deep, meaningful connections. They may be attracted to the arts or spirituality as a way to find these types of emotional connection. The caregiver protects and cares for others, is compassionate, nurturing, and generous. Caregivers are people who have a strong sense of empathy. and are able to put themselves in other people's shoes. That's exactly what this is about. Let's all tap into that caregiver energy. They often have a call to help others and feel a deep need to care for others. The jester. I can tell you, we got a kid who definitely has some jester energy. Cadriel, 100%. And, you know, I think it's a lot of fun because there's something with the trickster and the jester archetype where it's a lot of fun. They bring joy to the world through humor, fun, irreverence, and often like to make some mischief. The jester archetype is characterized by humor, playfulness, and mischief. Jesters are always looking for a way to have fun and make others laugh. Jesters are also very flexible, and they are very adaptable to any type of situation. They don't get upset very easily and are usually good at diffusing tense situations with their humor and trickery. They often see the world in a very positive light. And then, lastly, but definitely not least, we have the sage. The sage is committed to helping the world gain deeper insight and wisdom. The sage serves as a thoughtful mentor and advisor. The sage archetype is usually characterized by wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Sages are seekers of truth and knowledge. They have a deep understanding of the world and the people around them. And I think none of us would be here if that weren't a part of us, right? We're all seeking something deeper, a deeper truth, what connects us, how we're connected to divinity. And I know for me, the truth is what has led me to my spiritual path. Without seeking the truth, I would have never ended up here today. And, you know, sometimes seeking the truth can be very difficult. There's also a Gnostic phrase that's, you know, the truth will set you free, but first it'll piss you off. There's something real there. But in the end of the day, yeah, it'll set you free, and then, but first, yeah. So, all right, so I want to go around and have us talk about this a little bit. I want you guys to kind of think about the archetypes in your life. And maybe ones you've been over-attached to, or ones that you really resonate with, that have kind of brought you a deeper understanding, or ones you see in people around you that maybe you also see a reflection of in yourself that brings more understanding. So does anyone want to go first? Who's the brave one?
Hello.
You're looking brave. Okay, all right, well, you're going to go first. Is this on? Yes.
Yeah, I almost need the list again because there's just too many. I mean,
I know.
I hope it's a good thing that I see myself in
Yes,
a lot of
that's what
those.
you're supposed to do. Yes.
Okay, good. Because
Yes.
I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be that one.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Yes. No,
good.
that's the goal. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I guess the trick is that you find a little of them, all of them in you, but then you say, okay, which one is going to help me discover my truer path in life, and pick that one. So I'm gonna have to go back to your list and say, okay, I've done a few of these. They didn't work out very well, so let's try a couple others. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at.
I love that. Seeing the roles you've played, and maybe it wasn't the time for them, and seeing what roles you need to play in the future. Right, and recognizing them as roles. They're all in you. You can embrace whatever you wish.
I think we all play different roles at different times in our lives when it's needed. When you're younger, you need to be the explorer, be courageous, do fun things in extravagant ways. Keep on doing it though for the rest of your life. But there are some things that sometimes in your life, like when your parents are at the end of their lives, then you become the one that's the caretaker. So it just depends on when and if you can just step up into that archetype and take the best of those qualities of the archetype and really own them, because they're all a part of us.
Fantastic, thank you. Anyone else? Over here. Awesome.
Good morning. My name is Marty.
Hi, Marty.
Hi. And I think the first one, I started writing them all down as you were talking. Trying to figure out which, so because I don't remember after, it takes a while. But I think the innocent one was how I've been most of my life. I've always been kind of even playing, everything's good. And I don't know if that was just because of my crazy upbringing, and I wanted to force myself to be, more level-headed, I guess. But I do believe that way. I've always lived, not with rose-colored glasses exactly, but maybe in a wiser way, trying to keep life on an even thing. And then I do, the second one I really liked was the Explorer, because I do love, going places and traveling and filling my senses with other sights and other people and other foods and that kind of thing. So I do like the Explorer part. And then I am partially a caregiver. I've always liked to nurture and help people, sometimes to my demise, where I think anyway. And then the last one was, I can't read my writing, sage, I guess, because I am drawn to the spiritual aspect of life, and I love it very much. Amen. Thank you.
Amen. Amen, brother. Thank you for taking notes. I can appreciate that. Start.
Oh, yeah, I see myself in a lot of them, but the innocent got me right off the bat because I really am a rose-colored glasses person. Been accused of toxic positivity many times in my life, and had to really research it. Like, what's that mean? I have always felt childlike. I've always felt, just childlike. Obviously, I've been a caregiver throughout different points of my life, and like you said, much to my detriment, I've had to pull away from it and really think about, okay, stop, I gotta take care of myself for a little bit. So that's been a big thing, a big thread throughout my life. I definitely know I am not anything that has to do with organization. You guys may laugh at that. I am the most disorganized person ever. So I can't be a ruler, and I'm not going to organize anybody else's life because I can barely organize my own. There's one other. And I have to admit I'm a rebel. I mean, I was out with some people doing lavender the other day, and one gal was like, "Oh, we can't do that. We'll break the rules." I'm like, "Whose rules? What are you talking about? There are no rules." So I always have been a rebel, and I like that in myself. Not that not that I think I'm above the rules, but and I never do it in a harmful way. You don't need to let yourself be So anyway, I think those are the big ones right there. Thanks, Ari, for doing this. This is great. Of course.
One sec. Okay. In the morality test, they have chaotic good, which is kind of the rebellious good, like rules that make sense, not just random rules.
What is it John Lewis said? In good trouble?
Good trouble. Love that. Love that. Okay, let me come to you, Glenn. Okay, and then we can take one more after Glenn, and then I got to do wabi sabi, and then we'll open it up for discussion again.
First I wanted to say what a pleasure it is to have you here and be with us and express your incredible creative self. Thank you. The archetype, all the ones that you talked about, we all have. And we're at the point in our lives now when we recognize that. We've been there, done that. We've experienced the full catastrophe, as you might say. Wife, family, kids, property. But to be able to look at that, it becomes as God observing itself.
Yeah, that's exactly it,
And here we jolly well are, aren't we?
Perfect.
Sage, man.
Yes, absolutely. And I can't wait to hear Glenn speak. What day are you speaking?
Not today.
Today. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Okay. Any one last person before? Okay.
Oh,
I keep seeing people point back here, but I don't see a hand.
When I was young, I had a mother who was a very deep thinker, and she explained to me about human personality traits. And it was a little different than people thought at the time, but she said, there isn't a personality trait that's male or female. They're on a spectrum, like a bell curve. Some people want to do little delicate things. Some people want to do really broad, outward things. One day I explained this to a class, and we were discussing Jung. And I said, I don't agree with anima, animus. I was 18 at the time. We're all human beings, and we can pick and choose. And I deeply believe this. And the professor took a vote on what I said.
Oh my God.
I was a child. It was so mortifying. So, I love Jung because he coined the phrase common consciousness. And I am tremendously grateful to him. But we can take it farther. And the youth of our world are taking it farther.
Yeah.
And I can totally say they, them. I can have a whole conversation and not tell the sex of the people who taught me a certain thing or whatever. And at first I thought I couldn't do that, but I can do that. Why? Because it's going to make us think differently, and it is going to change the world. And I am really grateful for this chance to speak.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Where'd my dog go? Right here.
All right. I just love it when we all get to talking. Hopefully we don't go too over on time, but we're having fun, right? Okay. All right. So now I want to really get into the meat here, which is wabi-sabi. And this you may or may not have heard about before, but it's a beautiful Japanese philosophy that can bring you insight to really see the beauty in all things. So taken individually, wabi and sabi are two separate concepts, and then we put them together. So wabi is about recognizing beauty in humble simplicity, inviting us to open our hearts and detach from materialism to embrace spiritual richness instead. Not being attached to the physical, but looking within. Sabi is concerned with the cycles of time, birth, life, decay, death, rebirth, and how all of it has its own beauty. Beneath the surface of what we see, there is beauty in all, even if initially we perceive it as broken. Right? Our culture tells us decay's ugly. No, not the sabi. There's beauty in all. And it's a beautiful light that shines through that brokenness. It's not truly broken. It's opening, right? So when you hear broken or feel broken, think of it as an opening instead. Okay. When we bring these two together, we are offered an opportunity to stay in the present with the highest aspect of ourselves and appreciate all stages of life, because they're going to happen. There's no stopping the cycle. Some key principles that come out of wabi-sabi are the practice of gratitude for everything, and acceptance of what is. And striving not for perfection, but for excellence instead. Not getting too caught in, I have to do this just right. But realize, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to give this my all. And that is the real perfection. There's no true perfection in this type of philosophy other than excellence. Put simply, there's this quote, put simply, wabi-sabi gives you permission to be yourself It encourages you to do your best, but not make yourself ill in the pursuit of unobtainable goal of perfection. It gently motions you to relax, to slow down, and enjoy your life. And it shows you that beauty can be found in the most unlikely of places, making every day a doorway to delight. Beth Kempton. Appreciate the beauty in all things, especially the great beauty that hides beneath the surface of what seems to be broken. Now, this is the famous wabi-sabi thing here, and I'm going to might slaughter this name, so if someone knows the right pronunciation, please tell me. But it's Kisuji bowls? Okay, good. Okay, cool. Maybe I got that right.
We'll go along with that.
We'll go with that, Kisuji bowls. Okay, but they're the black bowls that they break, or once they're broken, they fill with gold in the pieces. And that is a perfect depiction of the wabi-sabi philosophy, right? It's not broken, it's better, exactly. And if you think about it, those openings for us, as I'll call them, those moments of openness that open us right up, don't they bring more beauty later in life? Like, they really do. And it doesn't feel like it always in the moment, but it does. And it makes life so much more rich. Alrighty, so guess what it's time for? Let's open it up about wabi-sabi. Let's do it. Anyone want to talk about wabi-sabi? Fantastic.
This reminds me of the time that I went to the Hoh rainforest, and it was just mind-blowing to see these magnificent tree that had fallen, and when they're standing, they're reaching to heaven. They're just the most incredible beings. And there was this tree lying on the ground, and out of it were new seedlings that were growing. I think they call them nurse logs. And so out of death was rising new life. That life and death were inseparable. They're connected. They can't be pulled apart.
Wow, that's beautiful image. Thank you. Anybody else? I'm coming.
Wabi-sabi.
Yes. When you start speaking, I'm surprised.
So I'm surprising you with my archetypes. Renee and I just have this discussion a lot to try to find the beauty in the true horrors of the world, genocides and the trickery and the intentional destruction. It's one thing if there's a natural cycle of life and decay and death, but when it's done intentionally, it's a little bit harder. So any input about how to find the beauty in that stuff that just doesn't look beautiful? Thanks.
No, absolutely. And that's the thing, there is so much destruction and suffering. And that's with the play of life too. I think it's important personally to be active in the play, to play these archetypes, to be the role, but not to be too caught in it, to where we can't, so you still are responsible for your morality, for things like this, for standing up for this realm. This is what we're here to do. But at the same time, end of the day, don't see that as the ultimate reality. Understand that this is a play, right? A cosmic play. And beyond that, even those horrors and things, they're here to teach. They're here for a reason. They're playing their part as well. And that helps me. I don't know if that helps you, but it helps me.
Yeah, to go back on what you said, that the truth will set you free, or the person will piss you off. Yeah. Gospel of Thomas says a saying like that too, which is, when you find the truth, first you'll be disturbed, and then you'll be astonished. So,
yes.
I'm waiting for the astonishment part.
And if you keep seeking truth, you'll get there. And that's the thing, there was this painting, and it had this guy on just a ground. He's sitting in front of a mural, and it's just a painting of a blue sky and fake butterflies. He's just staring at it, right? And then it shows him on some more books, and all he sees is crumbling walls, destruction, all this stuff. Like, he knows that was fake. And then, even up higher, he sees the galaxy, right? And that's, I think, kind of how it goes. And it doesn't mean that you still don't remember all that. It doesn't mean, oh, there's no destruction now. No, you still see that, but you also are now able to see beyond too.
Nothing else is I can say I choose not that.
Absolutely. I love that. Okay, Glenn.
Probably everyone in here remembers, first there is a mountain, then there is no mountain, then there is.
That's it indeed. And that's the trip of the Ouroboros, right?
This sort of an answer, sort of a response to what you said, and about decay and beauty, and birthing of the flowers, and then, when it dies, and then the petals, and then it going into the earth and all of that. And it's like, it just occurred to me when Robbie Sabi was speaking, that if there's a moment away, we're asked to rise above, and to see it with greater eyes, not to deny, but to see it with a wider view. And what if the wider view is, look at those aphids down there, or what are we going to do to clean the aphids off so the plant can bloom? And that there's a different way to look at all the horror, even though it seems intentional. Just what if, from the wider view, it could be part of the cycle?
Yes.
Which doesn't mean we stop cleaning the aphids off the roses, so the roses will be happy. So that just, I'm really glad you said what you did, Ron, because it made me jump up there and take a look at that.
Yes. And that's that bird's eye view that we should continue to seek. And I think that helps.
I had the pleasure of being on a board and helping a hatchery where we did a 4th grade STEM program, and we would bring the kids during the time when the salmon were coming upstream, and it was always their favorite place to go. And my favorite station to do was the death station, because everybody else, they saw the life cycle, they saw the salmon, and then I was at the end going, it stinks. Look at these dead things. But you know what they do? They feed life into the next generation. They provide nutrients. And I love that. And the kids would all go, oh, wow. I said, so that stink is really a good thing. My death station was my favorite.
How perfect for that wabi-sabi right there. Exactly. That stink is actually a beautiful thing right there. Yes.
That
Okay.
balances out the innocence.
Yes. Yeah, that's it right there.
All right. Anybody else on that? Are we sure? Oh, yes. My lovely.
Okay, so from what I understand in Japan, if you go up to someone and you ask them what wabi-sabi is, they can't really give you an answer because it's a way of living, and it's perfectly reflected in their tea service. And they get together and they have everything perfect and it's beautiful. And it can have chips or maybe something isn't made right, but they put all their effort into it because they're having their friends over. And what it's really about is their connection and the perfection of the moment together. And each moment is something precious.
I love that. It's perfect because there's definitely in wabi-sabi's philosophy focus on nature and being just so present and really tapping into our inner nature. That's a great example. Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, yes, we got one more. Awesome.
Sabi part.
This reminds me, if I'm understanding the concept of it correctly, The times in my life when wabi-sabi really seemed to be active are times when I have been broken wide open. It's not of my own conscious choice, but by surprise. Life has come along and just broken me open by surprise. And that was followed by times when I saw my whole life reconstruct in many different ways, literally. And then something else is being rebuilt, where some part of me was able to expand beyond those limitations or those boxed in places in my life. They were just broken open and dissolved. And looking back years later, sometimes it takes a while to get the message. Here is this whole new life that's being built. It's on a different kind of foundation altogether. And we move forward on that in that way.
Wabi Sabi.
Yes. There's your new foundation. No, that was perfect. I completely agree. I've had that same experience. And in the moment, you're like, oh my goodness. But with that understanding, it helps. Because it's true, when you look back, like, oh, I'm really glad that all my box got blown wide open, you know? Yeah. Alrighty, guys. So we're going to wrap up here. We're just going to do a quick meditation. So if everyone will shut their eyes momentarily. Let's take 3 big breaths. Let's be mindful of this moment. So I want you to think about the areas of your life that you find beauty in right now. Now I want you to think about areas of your life that are very hard to see beauty in. And really look in there. Really look for the beauty. It might take you a minute, but really look for it. What does it bring to you? Now I want you to think about someone you love. And just think about how beautiful they are. In every way, every part of them. Now, I want you to think about someone maybe you don't have always the kindest feelings towards. Maybe it's not someone you know personally. I want you to try to find something beautiful about them. Think about the archetypes. Namaste.